Now, before I get into this video, this is going to be a full spoiler review of The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 9. So if you have not watched the episode, then please click off this video right now, turn off this video, swipe it off your screen, and just go and watch the episode. Then come back and watch the video so nothing's spoiled for you. So with that being said, let's get into the video. What's up everyone, TGA19 here, and today we're going to be doing a review of The Walking Dead Season 6 mid-season premiere. I can't tell you how long I've been, just sitting there waiting for The Walking Dead to return. I feel like this every single season. And, I mean, especially with Season 6, considering I found the second half of the first 8 episodes, which is basically, the last 4 episodes. The last 4 episodes we got before this one, of Season 6, were a bit disappointing, really, to be honest with you. I mean, they were just very slow-paced, with not a lot of character development, and it just became a bit of a chore and very boring to watch. So, I mean, coming into this mid-season premiere, had definitely a lot of expectations, not really too much to be better, because I think we all knew, hopefully, it would be a lot better. But, I mean, this episode blew me away. I did not expect the mid-season premiere to be this good. In fact, in my opinion, this is probably the second best mid-season premiere in Walking Dead history. I mean, obviously it doesn't top the Season 5 one, because of course that's the one where Tyrese died. So it definitely can't top that, but in terms of action and set piece wise, definitely for me, surpassed all my expectations. I was blown away by it. I mean, where do I start? I mean, let's just go through quickly the story of what happens in the episode. Of course, it starts off pretty much from where the post-credit scene from the mid-season finale left off. So essentially, Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha are all held up by the Saviors, and the crazy dude, who pretty much references Negan, and all of the Walking Dead fans lost their shit. So it continues straight on from that. He essentially holds them all at gunpoint and tells them all to hand over their supplies. He gets one of his men to take Daryl on the back to show him all the supplies they have, while he holds Sasha and Abraham at gunpoint. And then just as he's about to shoot them, there was really good tension built up beforehand, and then all of a sudden they all get blown to smithereens by an RPG by Daryl. I mean, he's a freaking badass. I mean, the Daryl fanboys have now got something to shout about now, because that scene was absolutely awesome, and it was so unexpected as well. And that was just a great scene, and I really enjoyed that. Definitely, probably, in my opinion, the best moment of the whole episode, because it was a great opening, because it was unexpected and just awesome. So yeah, that pretty much set the tone for the entire, episode. Then, of course, we go forward back to Alexandria, where, of course, everyone's now masked in zombie guts to escape from the herd of walkers. They essentially succeed, and they get to the middle part, and they conduct a plan, basically to try and, get to the armory and get all the guns, I think. I couldn't really understand fully what they were saying during that, but I'm pretty sure they were going to go to the armory to get guns. So they try and do that, but then Sam, Jesse's little kid, starts to worry when he sees a child zombie, and he starts crying. Then all of a sudden, zombies just latch onto him. I mean, that was so weird, because I was watching it, and then, he's just standing there perfectly fine. Then all of a sudden, you have 3 fucking zombies jumping on screen, biting into it, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. It was very unexpected, because literally they just popped out of nowhere, but that was really, really caught me off guard. And of course, Sam, of course, gets bitten, but then Jesse's holding on to him, and then literally about 30 seconds after Sam gets bitten, she gets bitten as well, and then of course Rick starts to have flashbacks of memories of Jesse, and I've got to say, I did actually really like that. I know some people took the mick out of Greg Nicotero, who of course did this episode, took the mick out of him for the fact that, of course, he used those elements in the episode, flashing back towards Jesse, because of Rick remembering her when she gets bitten. But I actually quite like that. It brought a bit of humanity to Rick's character and showed, he did actually care about Jesse. He actually had feelings for her. And I loved the bit when she was hacking her arm off while she was being bitten, because she was holding on to Carl. And the pictures you see of her beforehand when he's thinking of good things about her, and then as he's hacking off her arm, the pictures go to red all of a sudden, and it's so really, I did actually really like that, and it was really good. And then after all of that shit, that little bastard Ron, who I've been waiting so long to die because he's such a dickhead, pulls a gun at Rick and then is attempting to fire, and then Michonne comes up with a katana and slices him through the middle. I was like, yes, that's the death I wanted. And then, of course, he ends up dead, but then just as he gets slashed by the sword, he basically fires off a shot in his gun, and it ends up hitting Cole in the fucking eye. I mean, I did not think at all that they were going to do this. I mean, of course, I've read all the comics as of currently, and I, of course, do know that he does lose an eye in the comics. But the big question for me was whether the show was going to go that far and actually do it, because, of course, the fact that, Rick hasn't lost his hand yet, which he does in the comics. And I was very, curious as to see whether the producers of the show would actually do that with Cole, whether they make him lose his eye. But ultimately he does, and I think it's a very bold decision, and I commend AMC and Walking Dead for actually doing that, because it required a lot of balls to do that. And it was a very good scene of how it was done. It was almost frame for frame how it was in the comic, so I really, really did like that. So, of course, they take Cole. He, of course, has medical treatment, and then Rick goes basically insane once more and slashes a load of zombies. But then while he's doing that, he essentially brings this motivation to the rest of Alexandria, and then go out and help him. And then basically everyone gets rescued. Maggie, who of course was on top of that ledge thing with a load of walkers, she gets rescued by Glenn and Enid. Thank God Glenn's not dead, because there was one scene in the episode where he was surrounded by walkers, and I was like, oh shit, they better not do another fake out Glenn death on us. But then luckily Abraham and Sasha just shoot all of them, and then that's problem sorted. And then of course Denise and that wolf. The wolf, of course, gets killed by Carol. And then Morgan stumbles across him later on as a zombified version. And then he ultimately, of course, says sorry to him before he, puts him out of his misery. And I love that line that Carol says when she said, you didn't do it for us, you did it for you. And I do think that eventually Morgan is going to have to realise that he can't just let everyone live. He's going to have to actually get blood on his hands. And I think if he doesn't, then he probably will end up dying this season. He's still on the top of my hit list for characters who'll die this season. The other one being Abraham. I'll probably discuss that more towards the finale as to, which characters will actually die. So I'll probably save that for a separate video. But of course, all that happens, and eventually they manage to clear the place of Alexandria. But before they do, and Daryl has to freaking light the lake on fire to attract all the zombies. And then that was an epic shot. It was really, really good. And then, of course, like I said, after all that, Alexandria is clear of zombies. And then Rick goes back to Cole, who, of course, now is on the bed, and he only has one eyeball. And, yeah. And I remember when I was watching this with my friends, because we were messaging each other at the same time, when that scene actually happened, we were all joking to each other that Cole was going to end up becoming the next governor. And, yeah, that's kind of a little, inside joke thing that we're starting to do now all the time when we talk about Cole. But yeah, in terms of this episode, I really liked how it was structured. I thought it was a very, very bloody episode in terms of its violence. I mean, particularly the start bit as well. Just how, when they all exploded after being hit with the RPG, it was definitely very, very bloody. Another thing that I also liked about the episode was just the amount of comic book moments they did and how well they were done. They were done very well in a very good manner. Felt like this definitely did feel like a comic book episode made for the comic book fans. And I really did enjoy that because, of course, like I said, I've read the comics, so I definitely felt very happy while doing it. The acting was overall very good, and I liked it. Was very upsetting that the whole Anderson family got killed off within a matter of about, a minute and a half. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I mean, overall, this episode was very, very good. Good character development, as I said. Father Gabriel in particular, he definitely feels like he's on the path sort of towards redemption, and kind of the same with Denise, but we're going to have to wait for the other episodes to fully find that out. But overall, I'm probably going to give this episode a score of probably a 9 out of 10. It was a very solid mid-season premiere, by far the best episode of Season 6. I do think there were some flaws. For example, I didn't like the fact that they almost did a fake-out Glenn death again, unfortunately. And plus, the other criticism of the episode was that during the hack and slash bit, where Rick pretty much motivates the entire town to do the things, some of the camera work they were trying to do with it felt a bit cheap, if you know what I mean. But not in a bad way, but it was just wasn't too much of a fan of how they edited it, so that stops me from giving it a 10. But overall, a very good episode. And yeah, I think any Walking Dead fan will be very happy with what they got here. But of course, let me know in the comment section, what did you think about the episode? Did you think it was very good like me? Or maybe you just didn't like this episode and you're mentally wrong in the head. So yeah, just make sure you tell me. With that being said, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.